Is Bitcoin in big trouble? We see a lot of FUD hitting the market around Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, which is the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. We see a lot of FUD with the carry trade of Japan. A lot to discuss today. Is this the time to be buying Bitcoin, or are we going to go way lower? This is what I want to share with you. What's my current take on what's going on right now in the market? We do have reasons to be concerned right now, and that's why it is quite an important video to watch. So watch to the end to understand what's happening right now. So technically, we did see Bitcoin dump on the first day of December to $84,000, only to be reversed all the way to the upside already at $91,000 for Bitcoin. We did see Bitcoin close the worst November, one of the worst, actually, second worst November ever, which is a minus 17.67%, which of course shows that we are definitely in a bearish direction trend, right? And the trend is your friend until the end, until the bulls will show up and flip bullish. We are in a bear territory. We are below the 50 weeks moving average. We are trading below 20-day moving average, and we are below this very important line of resistance, which previously was support, this trend line. So this is currently sitting at $92,000. So bulls need to take this and flip it to support over the next near term, or we risk going way lower. On the stochastic RSI, I did show that we are waiting for the bullish cross to be happening. Until it happened, we can go way lower even than this. And if it fails to hold the $84,000 level, then the next target, of course, is going to be at around $74,000 for Bitcoin. Now, what is going on right now? For several reasons to be concerned and FUD that is in the market. Well, the first one I want to address is what's happening with MicroStrategy. Their stock fell from $460 in July to $150. This is absolutely a huge drop in the price of a stock of 65%. And this, of course, the biggest holder of Bitcoin on the planet, which is 3.1%, about 650,000 Bitcoins for $60 billion right now. So what's going on with that? Okay, we have basically a coordinated FUD against MicroStrategy. It started with JP Morgan in July. Basically created a situation where he raised the requirement for the loan to value ratio collateral for MicroStrategy from 50% to 90%, which caused a lot of selling to be happening. And there was no reason in July, when the stock was trading near all-time high, to create this situation. So that was an attack. And also now we are seeing that the MSCI Global Standard Index, that determines a huge amount of money to passively to be flowing into those indexes, they are warning of delisting MicroStrategy stock from this index, right, which have a lot of money flowing, and that will force billions of dollars of the MicroStrategy stock to be sold even more, right? And we're seeing the decision on that is going to be announced by January the 15th, okay? And on top of that, we see Strategy coming out and saying that they might sell Bitcoin. So for years, Michael Saylor was going to every podcast, every show, every stage, and declaring that you don't sell your Bitcoin. You only buy Bitcoin, You hold Bitcoin, you never sell your Bitcoin. And now what is happening is that they raised a lot of cash, a lot of capital from investors on a preferred stock. And this preferred stock is giving dividends of 8 to 10% a year. Okay, now where they will pay this dividend, because Bitcoin is not generating any money, right? So what's happening right now is MicroStrategy is actually trading below the value of the Bitcoin holdings that they have, the stock. Okay, so here, just check this out. The world's largest corporate Bitcoin holder is now worth less than the Bitcoin that they hold, right? They hold 650,000 Bitcoins, worth $56 billion today, and market cap 45 billion. So the Wall Street is valuing the company at negative $10 billion, right? So what does it mean? They accumulated 3.1% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist and now price as if the Bitcoin itself is worthless. Here's what they're hiding from you. The company just created $1.44 billion emergency cash reserves to pay the dividends. So basically they come out and say, we're establishing this $1.44 billion reserve. Don't touch us for the next 2 years. We have enough money for like 21 months in order to pay those dividends without selling the Bitcoin, right? And that's what shook the market. And I think that's why we're seeing yesterday that Bitcoin price went to $84,000, because the fear was that MicroStrategy will start selling its Bitcoin if the stock is trading that low, and they need to basically pay those dividends, right? So now they came up and said, okay, we are going to have this US dollar reserve. So currently the average cost is $74,436. The company sits 15% above break even. One sustained drop erases every gain since 2020. So the question is, what's going to happen with MicroStrategy? If they're going to get delisted from the MSCI on January 15th, we're going to see a lot more sales of the stock happen, and that might negatively affect also the Bitcoin price. Okay, but because they are the biggest holders of Bitcoin. But now that they have come out with this $1.44 billion US dollar reserve, that put the investor at some ease over that. Okay, and you can read more about strategy and their corporate Bitcoin strategy, and that's one of the FUD that hit the market. Another one FUD is what has to do with Japanese yen. You can see the correlation of the Bitcoin dump and the Japanese yen that basically gain strength. And you can see with Japan, the situation is, for decades, Japan allowed people to borrow at zero cost, right? Basically cheap money, the cheapest money in human history. Near zero rates, infinite liquidity, trillions of dollars borrowed in yen and deployed in every asset class on earth, including Bitcoin, right? Now we have the Japanese 10-year yields hit 1.86%, highest since 2008, and the Bank of Japan signals December rate hike at 76% probability. What all of this means? What it means is that those that borrow cheap money from Japan are going to start paying interest on it, and they'll have to sell those risk assets, right, in order to do that. So it might be stocks, it might be Bitcoin as well. Okay, so all of that has created a FUD in the market, because if Japan is going to continue this way and raise interest rates, then people have to sell those that borrowed, right? The corporations that borrowed from Japan and invested it into the markets, they'll have to sell it in order to repay their debt to the Bank of Japan. Okay, so that's another thing. So far, they're raising it slowly, 0.25%. So I wouldn't say that it is too much of a worry, but it is what it is, and it does spooks the market. Another FUD that came to the market has to do with USDT. And in USDT, the S&P 500 is basically coming up and saying that Tether is not meeting the requirements because they are holding Bitcoin and gold too much on their balance sheet, and they're trying to force Tether, the largest stablecoin company, to buy more US treasuries, right? So Arthur Hayes come up and said, look guys, we see that Bitcoin and gold, there is too much on their balance sheet, and a 30% decline in gold and Bitcoin position would wipe out their equity, and then USDT would be in theory insolvent. But that is a lot of BS and a lot of FUD, because what is not being told here is that Tether is a profitable company and they generate billions of dollars in profit a year, and they're over collateralized. What they're investing in gold and what they're investing in Bitcoin is a lot more money than what they have in the US Treasury. So they have a lot more over collateralized money invested, and they have all these income streams. They have the cash flow that is coming from the Tether business, and that's what they're using to buy Bitcoin. So all of that is FUD, and do not pay too much attention. On the positive side, we have some tremendous news, as $11 trillion Vanguard officially lists BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs. So this is one of the biggest milestones for Bitcoin that we have ever seen, because this is a huge corporation, and Vanguard controls the deepest pools in long-term capital. They set fiduciary norms for advisors. Inclusion unlocks 401k flows. It normalizes Bitcoin in default portfolios, accelerates benchmark-driven adoption, creates supply-driven price repricing, all of that. So this is a huge milestone for Bitcoin, right? Ever. So this is very bullish news of this exposure is happening. Also, big Bank of America just opened the doors to crypto. They have nearly $2.9 trillion in assets under management, now telling its wealth clients that they can allocate up to 4% of their portfolio into crypto. Okay, 4%. So they're going and doubling down on Bitcoin. Again, this is huge news that is happening right now. Very bullish. Vanguard now lists Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana ETFs. It's crazy. It's absolutely awesome news. We have the Federal Reserve just injected $13.5 billion into the market as an overnight repo operation. This is one of the biggest liquidity injections since COVID. More money, more liquidity is coming into the markets. We have a whale that just opened $56 million of Ethereum long position. Yesterday he shorted and made $900,000 in profits. Now he's longing. Probably knows what's going on. We have Powell says US banks can offer Ethereum services within the rulebook, meaning the world's biggest financial institutions now have a clear runway to enter on-chain markets, and they can bring billions of dollars. So bullish things for Ethereum for sure with that news. We have Fidelity just bought $67 million worth of Bitcoin. And all of this happening on the background that silver is now hitting a new all-time high, the largest 12 months plus 100% candlestick since 1979. Will Bitcoin gonna catch up to gold and catch up to silver? Silver is skyrocketing. Ethereum is going to have tomorrow Fusaka hard fork. So what it all means is you're gonna pay a lot less cheaper transactions for Ethereum. The gas cost drops significantly. Okay, and now the phone's built-in security chips like Apple, they can sign transactions and onboard billions of users without writing the 12 words. Another huge piece of news that is hitting the market. You can just scan your face, tap and send with bank grade security already in the pocket. So this Fusaka hard fork will begin bridging crypto and mainstream tech in a revolutionary way by turning smartphones into secure hardware wallets. Crazy, crazy news that is happening right now. And you can see the short liquidation can be very, very big. If Bitcoin reaches $96,000, roughly $10 billion in short leverage is set to be liquidated, right? Crazy, 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 crazy. So all the longs liquidations have already been happening. So now it's time to liquidate the shorts, right? So on the bullish side, we do need to first claim the 92,000 as a support again. So rally to like 95, 96,000, for example, back to 92, 93, holding it and then climbing. The next piece is a psychological level and also an important level of about $100,000. So we need to cross this level of $100,000 in order to flip the bullish momentum. Okay, right now we are in a bearish momentum. Still, if you look across the board, right? Today is a little bit rally, of course. The altcoin markets are rallying because Bitcoin is rallying. So we do see double digits Solana today. Oh, look at that. Solana today from $125 to $138. Very, very good. Cardano today 11%. So we do see a bounce over there over altcoins right now. And everything is really dependent on what Bitcoin is going to do. If Bitcoin is going to hit it again, this as a resistance, and going to go down, well, then altcoins are going to go down. We are right now printing a bullish engulfing candle on the daily. So this is daily, of course. So time will tell what December is going to look like, how December is going to close. We do see a concern with MicroStrategy, but we also see that they are not stupid. They're willing to hold Bitcoin, not sell Bitcoin, and fulfill their dividend obligation with establishment of this $1.44 billion US dollar reserve. Okay, so all of that, guys, you know, it's a bit of an alarming because we are in the bearish trend and we do have a real possibility that the bear market is here and the bear market is gonna continue and potentially hit the $50,000, right? Maybe even lower for a short period of time. But we do need to see for the bulls, we do need to see them sooner. The sooner the better to completely flip bullish above $100,000 and then above $112,000. Until that happens, we are in a bearish trend right now. So be careful. In a bear market, you're making money by shorting and not by buying or longing, right? So in a bear market, whenever we see a rise in the coins to the resistance level, that's when we need to hit the short Of course, with the stop losses, you can hit the short positions or do nothing. Okay. So that's what I want to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with what's happening in the crypto land. And I'll see you in the next episode of Today in Crypto Show. Until then, bye bye.